I really feel very proud and privileged to have Shri Ashok Ganguly ji on our channel, that is for your edification. Sir, I have your permission to start off.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ashok Ganguly ji, former chairman CBSE, he introduced several reforms to reduce student stress, raise levels of learning, and modernize the systems of evaluation. He introduced new subjects, teacher and principals in service training, and empowerment programs, including partnership with IIM Ahmedabad. And I was the first principal to go in that scheme. Um, Underlining the need of develop new skills for the new century, Ganguly ji introduced higher order thinking skills, that is HOTS, in the classes 11th and 12th, inquiry-based, value-based questions in the examination papers. Sir played a very important role in the development of National Curriculum Framework 2005. He was the chairman of the Ganguly Committee of Admission to Nursery, which really went on for a very long time. And there used to be a lot of controversial discussions and whatnot. And, it's really, he was looking at it only from the student's point of view. So, sir, I have your permission to take up the questions with you, sir. It's once again, I welcome you to our channel for your edification. And, sir, as you know, there is a paradigm shift in education. All are caught in the midst of pandemic. Social distancing is becoming a must. Teachers are trying their best and really working hard to prepare themselves for online, virtual classroom, Zoom, Google, and even Microsoft group training they are taking. Schools are trying to gear up for post COVID-19. When the schools can reopen, they're waiting for that. There is, as we all know, there is an emotional, social, economic stress to parents, teachers, and students alike. Everybody is stressed. Some people say it's a blessing in disguise, but otherwise, on the whole, the system itself has changed. So it takes time for people to understand. So, sir, keeping these points in mind, online learning a reality, are we really ready for it? This is my question to you, sir. And I would like you to really take up for the parents, for the teachers, and for the students and the school. Because it's basically for all of them, they're all stressed. They all want to know from you, are we really ready? Is everything going in the right direction as it has to go? And you're the right person to tell us that. So, sir, once again, welcome, and I expect you to answer for this.
Thank you.
Words of wisdom.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Usharam. I am really delighted that I'm being allowed to participate in this very important discussion. Yes, I'll be focusing only on the school education part. You know that we are passing through some of the most crucial and critical phase in human history. The present pandemic has impacted every sector of school education and also impacted the minds of all educational stakeholders, including that of teachers and parents. But every situation has its pros and cons. So instead of looking into the negative side or feeling panicky, let us look into the positive side of it and move on. The present pandemic has given two very important lessons to our students. Number one, self-discipline. Number two, self-learning. In self-discipline, the children are spending quality time with their parents, family members, and sometimes also looking to the welfare of the immediate community. The second important lessons that this pandemic has given, self-learning. Students are now motivated towards self-learning, taking control of their learning, and in near future, there will be significant reduction on teacher dependency or dependency on coaching institutions. In the interregnum, an important change has happened, and that is that online learning has become a reality. And it is scalable also, meaning thereby that it can be implemented in the entire spectrum of school education. So henceforth, blended learning or hybrid learning will follow, which means that both online, offline learning will happen simultaneously. So we have to train our teachers accordingly. So we are thus moving from a structured process of learning, which has happened for the last 100 years, to a unstructured process of learning. And for me, it seems to be good. So thus, instead of following a very rigid, close-ended curriculum, it is better that our school and our teacher will have the time to follow open-ended curriculum. And this will allow them to have a greater flexibility in curriculum design and as well as in curriculum transaction. But while conducting online classes, our teachers have to make certain basic changes in their attitude and approach so that it becomes very interesting and engaging. First of all, that online content should be in a capsular form. That means small capsule. And the duration of each capsule should not exceed 15 to 20 minutes. Otherwise, we'll not be able to get the students' attention, and then student may try to do some mischief which may mess up everything. The usual approach of chalk and talk policy in our classroom management or classroom transaction has to give way to a 4E model. That's a new model I'm now saying, 4E model. Here the first E stands for engage. Yes, engaging the students and making them ready for this new approach is very, very important. And this engagement can only possible, besides teacher, the parents also now have to see that students are really engaged in the online classes. That is number one. Next E stands for explore. Yes, before starting the lesson, students may be allowed to explore the things 1 or 2 days before, and also, if possible, to get their queries beforehand. So it is a sort of, I will say, flip classroom situation where the students are first asked to go through the lesson and identify the hard spots. Then comes the third E. The teachers need to explain. And while explaining, teachers must know the key issues in that chapter and then also explain the hard spots which may be identified by the students or by the teacher themselves also. And after explanation, the teacher need to take care of the fourth E, and that is extend. Extending the knowledge to real life situation. And then only students can take actually interesting part in the entire things. For example, if a binomial or quadratic equation is being taught by a mathematics teacher, teacher must tell, taking in online classes, why I am or the students are learning, what will be its use later on in their life. So thus, besides the mindset, it is the skill set of the teacher which needs to be improved upon. And the school authorities must take up this challenge. A rethinking is necessary in the mind of all education stakeholders, that to create teachers as a professional force. You know, in the NEP 2020 also, this has been given a great emphasis, and that is where they have mentioned to create NPST, National Professional Standard for Teachers, who will be put in place by 2023. That's a good thing will happen. Okay. Now, teachers need to also work upon on constant content modification. So they need not no longer focus on the entire syllabus. So when the school reopen, they should not go business as usual, rushing to cover the courses in great haste. They should not go for that. They must prepare a weekly teaching plan and identify the key issues and hard spots in each chapter of every subject and guide the students accordingly. The ultimate motto is that to motivate the students to go for self-learning. So in this process, when online classes are going on, it's not the teacher-learner interaction that is relevant. Teacher-learner interaction will definitely happen. There is a requirement of learner-learner interaction, and the learner interaction with self or material, which are also going to be very important. For example, if the student is not understanding well and is not getting contact with the teachers, he can go for peer group support. That's the thing actually I'm talking, learner-learner interaction and learner interaction with self or with the material. Now the question arises, are we ready? Are the schools ready for this new challenge? That's what you have asked actually. It seems not. Yes, some of the schools are doing wonderful work. They have done, I've seen really good thing has happened, but those are very few in numbers. Most of the schools are doing these online classes as an ad hoc measure. And they're still thinking that this is an interim arrangement, and as soon as the school will reopen, it will be all replaced by the regular classroom transaction. This is not the correct thinking. Yes, I'm telling this in the current. Now in future, I'm telling you, the most good and the thinking school may like to continue with this blended learning, particularly in regard to enrichment program for the meritorious students, and as well as the remedial teaching for the weaker students. So it is now very important to build up a resource full of tech-savvy teachers in our schools. We need to do that so that online classes can happen. Now, of course, to conclude, what the teacher's role, what I have to say something to the teachers, what they need to do actually, the teachers. I must say to the teachers that they must know how the curriculum will be taken up in the future. Let it be divided into three broad framework. First, what need to be taught in the classroom. Second, what through digital platform. Third, what through project mode. So they need to be clearly define these three roles, and they can finish. If this pandemic happens or continued, still we can take care of the children if we can divide the entire curriculum in three broad framework. So planning, a meticulous planning is necessary on the part of the principal, on the part of the teacher, as well as by the school. Now for the students, I have to say that they must take this online learning very seriously, because it is the futuristic learning, and this will definitely help them in the future. And they must also take control of their own learning. Gone will be the days when you have to dependent on either teachers or on the coaching institutions. For the parents, I would like to say that it is a new world order. Today's students live in the world which totally different, in which we have all grew up in. So parents should not feel that the way they have been taught or educated, the same thing to be repeated to this generation. This generation is not only facing the problem of uncertainty, it is also facing this pandemic also. And then they have to compete in a globalized scenario. So naturally, we have to provide them different support, different mechanisms for their learning. And for the schools, I would like to say that we should not be crazy when something emergent like this situation happens. We have to make a balance between method and madness, and then only something great can be achieved. Thank you.
Sir, thank you so much. You have spoken for teachers, for parents, and for students also. Because you are still in government and you are in touch with everybody. As you yourself said, it's only very few schools who have taken it as a blessing, and they are doing what all you have talked right now, one by one. But there are schools in the cities also, in the villages also, where they do not have any online facility. Now, there's going to be a real shift. They might not learn. They might not show interest. So what do you suggest? Because anyway, it's something out of this thing that I'm asking you, because you are one person who is really involved at different levels in the government also. I think this has to be looked into, of course, for enrichment program, for remediations, and all that, and all the 4 E's which you have said, to engage, explore, explain, extend. These skills will be looked into. But there is one gap, that gap between haves and have-nots. The ones who can afford to go online, who cannot go online. There are families where 4 children, and how can all of them on the same platform? Not possible. So any kind of suggestion for them also, because they are the ones who are really losing out right now. I've talked to so many of them. They say that we really don't know how to really cope with this. And once the school reopen, as you said, we have to have blended teaching. It cannot be just one. We'll have again the same system of blackboard, and that's not possible. But then, what else do you think that we should, your suggestion, your wisdom, guidance, which you can give us?
That's good questions you have raised actually. You know that yes, I do agree with you that there are problem of networking, there are problem of hardwares, and yes, about 50% of our students are still either in the rural or the semi-urban areas, even in the government system or the aided school system, and they are actually not having these facilities. Yeah, of course, we need a technology revolution, no doubt about it, so that even to the last remotest part of the countryside, you don't have this problem of networking, these things to happen. But still, having those hardwares by all individual that's a great challenge. So one of the suggestions that has been mooted out and it has been discussed, that's also that why can't we start certain schemes with the banks actually, so that these hardware facilities can be made available to the needy students at a very low cost EMI, even subsidized by NGOs or by other group also. That can also start, besides of course the technology revolutions. And another important thing I will definitely say, that while going for online classes, first of all, there should be a upper time limit cap. It should not be more than 3 hours for students from class 9 to class 12, number one. And number two, for students who are less than in class 6, 7, 8 or 5, 6, 7, 8, should not be more than actually 2 hours. That should be given. So rest thing, I think we can put up, the teachers can put up some of their lessons in the school website or in even the television's portal also, that also are being actually tried out, so that students, those who do not have those hardwares, those they can actually look into those website, or can switch that particular channel in the televisions and can look into those lesson plan. Initially, of course, you know that there will be many barriers, many obstacles. But good thing about that, let us look at again the positive side of it. That online learning has shown the way that we cannot create a vacuum in the learning. That's a positive result it has shown. That okay, any pandemic can happen, but there cannot be any vacuum in the learning. That lesson has given to us actually. Actually the issues which you have raised, those are secondary issues, secondary barriers. We need to talk about other things also, so that these primary barrier we have already crossed and we have achieved certain level of success. Secondary barriers, I think, need certain more steps actually. If you can look into that, we will get success. Of course, it may take time actually, may say 2 to 3 years or even 4 years time frame. We may need to overcome those barriers or obstacles.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. This is a very nice, that you said the banks can help, or some, companies, with their CSR funds, they can help the, weaker section children and, those who cannot afford. That's one area, because government alone cannot do all this. And the internet facility should be better, so that, the people are able to reach out to that. These are really two very important especially for these children. There are children with special needs. They need special this thing. Teachers are working on that, because they do not have that much of attention span, and they need that physical touch. Especially, as you know, I had the special education center, and those children are very fond of meeting the teacher, hugging the teacher, meeting the teacher. All that is not there now. It has to be done by the parent, by the family. So there's a big change in that. But your advice and your suggestion and wisdom words, that we have to be positive. We have to take it in a positive manner. The teachers, that is your main thrust, that they have to really change their attitude. They have to change their attitude. They have to, and as you said, NEP already has that, which is going to take some time for them to really have that national level of learning outcomes that they have to, the competencies and learning outcomes they must understand, instead of just taking the chapters, starting the chapter, ending the chapter. That should not be done. And what you just said about self-discipline, self-learning, and positive attitudes by all, and the schools need to prepare themselves for this kind of paradigm shift. And thank you so much, sir, for your
Thank you.
wisdom words, and looking forward to meet you soon in Delhi, sir.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.